Hey guys, how's it going everyone? It's Jackie Felix here, and today I just want to give my quick feedback, thoughts and opinions on the new Tier 2 MMR system for Node Wars, and this was created by Hover from No Mercy. And essentially, the core principle behind the system is to remove human bias and have a better self-balancing system where there are predetermined templates and a system that gets updated after every war, so it's like consistently updated daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm not gonna go through all the text in this post because I'll leave that to you guys. You can just pause the video and go through the text yourself if you want to. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this post. There was a meeting earlier today, I think, in the Tier 2 Discord with over 100 people talking about something related to this. So, how the new MMR system works, before I give my opinions, I'll just explain to you guys how this rating system works based off this post is, say for example, there's a 4v4 going on, right? Now the team that wins that 4v4 will get 20 points. So if you're on the winning side and you win that 4v4, you get 20 points. If you're on the losing side of the 4v4, then you lose 20 points. Now after that, if your team wins the 2v2, you gain additional 20 points. And then if you win the 1v1 at the end, you'll gain additional 20 points, right? Now, I think stalemates count for 10 points as well. So let's say, for example, you win the 4v4, and then you win the 2v2 and there's not enough time to finish the 1v1, so it's stalemates. Now, through the system, your guild will get 50 points. So 20 plus 20 plus 10. Now, if you're, for example, if you won the 2v2, so if you won the 4v4, but then you lost the 2v2, then you would gain 0 points, because while you did win the 2v2, you got 20 points, won the 4v4, you gained 20 points, but then you lost the 2v2, so you lost 20 points, so net gain of 0. Now, an issue with this, right, is, say for example, what if on a given node, every guild wants to just stalemate the node, so that every guild on the node gets medals, and this has happened multiple times, right? Does that mean every guild just gets 10 points on the winning side? So like all the 4 guilds just get 10 points, I guess. So yeah, something to think about there. And there's more issues I'll talk about with this MMR system further on. Here he goes through some of the benefits of the new MMR ranking system. So I'll just go through these points with you guys real quick. So the new MMR system will update each night, even if no 1v1s happen. Guilds that win the team fight will get to move up in the rankings. Guilds that get the weaker team will go down a little bit in the rankings and will get stronger teammates next node war. The new system will micro-adjust and balance itself every single night and every single node war. The new MMR system will also address a flaw with the templates. So, there's some information about the MMR system. I'll leave you to go through that yourself. And now I want to go through, this is a ranking of the separate Siege and Node War guilds on this MMR system. And I just want to give you guys some scenarios, like some examples of why I think this MMR system won't really work, right? Now, let's say for example, there's a 4v4 going on, and it's Cho Nation, APOC, Vertex, and Relevance versus Black Rose, Digital, Corrupt, and Brutal, let's say for example, right? Now, let's say Black Rose wins the 4v4, and then they win the 2v2, and then they win the 1v1 at the end. So they will gain 60 points. Now, Cho loses the 4v4, so they lose 20 points. And then over the course of the next couple of days, say Black Rose goes for snipes, and the other smaller guilds on the node don't want to fight Black Rose, so they just dodge. Black Rose gets the nodes for free, just drops down some sticks, and they get additional, 20 or 40 points from that. Whereas Cho, like, goes for fights on the node, and they go for PvP, but they end up getting zerged. So they do end up losing the node they're on, right? Now, I'm just using this as an example, right? So does that mean that after like a week, Black Rose is technically a stronger guild than Cho Nation in nodes? Even though like most people know that's not true or not to be the case. So that's one problem with this MMR system, right? Another issue is, let's say like Tidefall or Highfall, for example, right? Some of these guilds, they drop on nodes just solely to go for snipes for an entire week. So does that mean if a guild like Tidefall wins, 3 or 4 snipes during a given week, and they gain like 80 points, whereas a guild like Villainous, I know Villainous got some pretty rough fights last week. They fought Corrupt and they fought Cho Nation, all those guilds. Like, those are not winning fights, right? But they do go for fights sometimes. So then they drop down, 60 points that week, and Tidefall gains 60 or 80 points that week. Does that mean that Villainous is now a weaker guild than Tidefall? No, not really. They're still very stronger guild than Tidefall, right? And these are just examples, but I hope that you guys can see some of the evident issues with this MMR system, right? And if you're gonna go with this MMR system and balance teams based off this MMR system, then I think you'll quickly realize there will be situations or cases where the teams just don't make sense based off this MMR system. And traditionally, right, a MMR system is, if you look at a game like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Dota, these competitive games, most players within the MMR system start off on even ground. They start off on the same level. You do your placements in League, and depending on how well or how bad you do in those placements, you could place you in bronze, you could place you in silver, you could place you in gold, or even low platinum, right? Now, you can't say that during the first week of this MMR system that Cho has an even starting ground with a guild like Corrupt, right? And I understand there's a 500 point difference, but like, it's not like what the system is designed for. It's not like, I just don't think it can be correlated, right? So now, what I think the alternative might be, what would I recommend, right? Is just do a tier list ranking. So like maybe have Cho Nation as S+, have Black Rose Digital APOC at A+ or S tier, and then have Vertex, maybe with that tier or tier below that, and Corrupt, Relevance, Brutal, a separate tier. And then that way, so that when you go into a 3v3 or 4v4, you try to balance out the teams based on the tiers of these guilds rather than just the MMR system. I think it's also very hard to keep track of this MMR system, especially with how much change or how much change there is in the members within each of these guilds. Because within a given week, right, there is a lot of new members joining and leaving each of these individual node war guilds. So for example, when Snake died, Detox got a lot of Snake's PvP core, like Don Skeptic's crew, right? That made Detox a pretty strong guild. Now, what if that PvP core was to leave Detox and go into like Sublime, for example? Just the example. I'm not saying that will happen. Does that mean that Detox is still a stronger guild than Sublime? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But the MMR system wouldn't tell you that. The MMR system wouldn't tell you that maybe 10 people left Crawling Chaos and joined Spartan yesterday. So like, if you don't know that information, you go into like a 3v3 or 4v4, and the crawling chaos GM might be trying to explain that situation, but the fight is just based off the MMR system, then you know there might be some confusion, right? Another example is, let's say for a 30 cap node, Brutal is a very strong guild on 30 cap node. They might not be as strong on a 60 man or a 70 man because they can't field that many people. Whereas a guild like Digital, Vertex, Black Rose, Cho, APOC, they can field those numbers, right? So how do you balance the MMR system based off the cap size of the node as well? Because, you know, you can't really say, for example, like a guild that is 10 or 20 people down compared to another guild, that's not accurate representation of guild strength. Like they could be very strong on 30 man, but they could be pretty weak on a 40 or 50 man because they can't field those numbers on a given day, right? So that's another thing you need to take into consideration. And I'm not saying that, you know, don't do this, like do the system and give it a shot, see how it goes. I'm just trying to point out some of the flaws with it, right? So that when some of these situations do happen in the future, people understand why it's happening or why these situations are happening, right? So that, you know, there's not that much confusion. So hopefully, you know, hopefully that's clear for you guys. Again, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, my feedback. It's fine if you guys agree or disagree with it. That's totally all right. If you have your thoughts or opinions, you know, you can leave them in the comment section down below. Join the Discord and have a conversation there, or you can have a chat on stream as well when I'm live on Twitch. But yeah, apart from that, hope you guys enjoy the video, enjoy the discussion, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.